The snow crunched beneath his boots. Stalingrad, winter of 1942. The air tasted of ash and frozen blood. Vasily crouched behind a shattered wall, his rifle steady despite the cold that gnawed through his gloves. Across the wasteland of rubble, somewhere in that maze of death, a German sniper waited. The man had killed 11 Soviet soldiers in 2 days. Now it was Vasily's turn to hunt. If you think war is about glory, you've never faced a bullet meant just for you. Comment below if you've ever heard a story that changed how you see courage. His breath came in short clouds, no movement for 20 minutes. Then, a glint. Metal catching winter sun. Vasily's finger moved to the trigger, but something stopped him. Through his scope he saw it clearly now. Not a weapon, a canteen, and next to it, slumped against frozen brick, a boy, maybe 17. Wehrmacht uniform, 3 sizes too large. The German sniper wasn't setting a trap. He was dying of thirst, too weak to lift his own canteen. 1 shot would end it. 1 shot was protocol. 1 shot was survival. Vasily had made harder kills. He'd grown up hunting wolves in the Ural Mountains, where hesitation meant starvation. He'd shot men at twice this distance. Clean kills, necessary kills. This should be simple, but his finger wouldn't move. Because in that moment, through 400 yards of frozen hell, Vasily saw something that wasn't supposed to exist on the Eastern Front. He saw himself, another farm boy, another son, another human being who'd been told this war mattered more than his life. The boy's lips were cracked and bleeding. His eyes stared at nothing. Vasily had 3 seconds to decide. 3 seconds before another Soviet soldier might see the target. 3 seconds before someone else took the shot he couldn't take. He lowered his rifle, and in doing so, he became something the history books would never record. Not a hero, not a traitor. Something more complicated, something more human. But what happened before this moment, and what came after, would haunt Vasily Volkov for the rest of his days. The Battle of Stalingrad was never just about territory. It was about breaking the human spirit. By December 1942, the city had become a graveyard, where 2 million soldiers and civilians would die for streets that no longer had names, for buildings that no longer stood. The Wehrmacht had pushed deep into Soviet territory, convinced that one more push would collapse Stalin's regime. They were wrong, but the cost of proving them wrong would be measured in frozen corpses and shattered minds. Vasily Volkov arrived in Stalingrad in November. He was 23 years old. Born to a family of hunters in a village so small it appeared on no map, he'd learned to shoot before he learned to read. His grandfather taught him that every animal deserved a clean death. No suffering, no waste. When the war came to his village in 1941, Vasily joined not out of patriotism, but necessity. The Red Army took volunteers, then conscripts, then anyone with a pulse. His skill with a rifle marked him immediately. Within weeks, he was pulled from infantry and trained as a sniper. The transformation was surgical. They taught him mathematics, wind calculation, psychology, how to wait, how to breathe, how to see men as targets. Most importantly, they taught him to bury whatever made him hesitate. Mercy was a luxury the Eastern Front could not afford. Compassion was weakness. Every German soldier you didn't kill would kill 10 of yours. For 8 weeks, Vasily believed them. He accumulated 47 confirmed kills. He slept without nightmares. He ate his rations without tasting them. He became exactly what they needed him to be, a machine with a heartbeat. Until that frozen morning when a dying boy with a canteen shattered everything. After lowering his rifle, Vasily lay in position for 3 hours. Standard procedure, never leave your hide immediately after breaking shot discipline. But these weren't tactical hours, these were hours of reckoning. He watched the German boy through his scope, watched him struggle for breath, watched him finally stop moving altogether. Vasily hadn't pulled the trigger, but he also hadn't saved him. He'd simply witnessed a death he could have made quicker, cleaner, more merciful. When darkness finally came, Vasily crawled back to Soviet lines. He said nothing about what he'd seen. He filed no report about the target he'd tracked, but not eliminated. In the machinery of war, one uncounted German made no difference. But inside Vasily, something had broken that couldn't be repaired. Have you ever made a choice that haunted you forever? Drop a comment and tell me about the moment that changed you. The next morning, his commander assigned him a new sector, factory district, high-value targets, German officers coordinating artillery strikes. Vasily took his position at dawn. Through his scope, he found his first target within minutes. A captain, maybe 30 years old, studying maps with two subordinates, clean shot, 200 yards. Slight crosswind, negligible at this range. Textbook kill. Vasily's crosshairs settled on the captain's chest, right over the heart. His finger found the trigger. He began the breath control sequence. Inhale, exhale, hold. Between heartbeats, squeeze. But then the captain laughed. Some joke from one of his men. A real laugh, the kind that crinkles eyes and shakes shoulders. And Vasily saw it again. Not a uniform, not an enemy. A human being who'd laughed at a joke in the middle of hell. Someone's son, maybe someone's father. His shot went wide, deliberately. The bullet sparked off metal 15 feet from the target. The Germans scattered. Vasily's opportunity vanished. He could claim wind miscalculation, equipment malfunction, target movement. All plausible, all lies. For 3 days, he continued missing shots that should have been certain. His kill count froze. Other snipers noticed. Whispers started. In an army where failure meant execution, where desertion was punished by shooting your own family, Vasily was dancing on a razor's edge. His commander called him in, asked pointed questions. Vasily blamed the cold, said his hands were losing feeling, said he needed better gloves. They gave him better gloves. But gloves couldn't fix what was broken. On the 4th day, everything changed. A German offensive hit their position at dawn. Artillery, then infantry, then tanks. The Soviet line collapsed in sections. Vasily found himself cut off with 6 other soldiers in a half-demolished apartment building. No radio, no support, no way out. They had ammunition for maybe 2 hours of fighting. Then it would be bayonets, then surrender, then execution. The German infantry advanced in careful formation, professional, experienced. They'd done this 100 times. Vasily watched them through his scope from a 4th-floor window. 40 men, maybe 45, all of them somebody's son, all of them following orders, all of them trying to survive. The soldier next to Vasily was 19, Mikhail, a baker's son from Moscow who'd been drafted 6 weeks ago. His hands shook so badly he could barely hold his rifle. He looked at Vasily with eyes that understood they were about to die. And in that moment, Vasily Volkov made his choice. Not between mercy and duty. Between the humanity he'd tried to kill in himself and the men who were about to kill this terrified boy beside him. He raised his rifle, found his breath, found his center, and began firing. His first shot dropped the German point man. His second took their sergeant. His third, fourth, and fifth came so fast they sounded like a single crack of thunder. The German advance faltered, broke, retreated to cover. Vasily had bought them minutes, maybe an hour. Enough time for Soviet reinforcements to hear the fight and respond. Mikhail was staring at him, 8 confirmed kills in 90 seconds, from a sniper who'd been missing easy shots for days. "I thought," Mikhail started, "they said you'd lost it." Vasily reloaded with hands that no longer shook. "I found it," he said quietly. "I just had to remember what I was protecting." The battle lasted 6 hours. Soviet reinforcements arrived. The Germans withdrew. Vasily survived. So did Mikhail. So did 4 others who should have died in that building. When they finally made it back to headquarters, Vasily's commander didn't ask about the missed shots anymore. Results spoke louder than rumors. 63 confirmed kills by the time Stalingrad finally fell to Soviet forces in February 1943. But here's what the history books don't tell you. After Stalingrad, Vasily requested transfer to a rifle company. No more sniper work, no more scopes. No more watching men's faces before killing them. His request was denied. His skills were too valuable, so he made a different choice. He became the sniper who took impossible shots to save Soviet lives, but who also became known for something unusual. He never shot wounded enemies, never fired on medics, never took kills that weren't protecting his own men. His commanders called it mercy. His fellow soldiers called it weakness. But the men who fought beside Vasily Volkov called it something else. They called it humanity, and in a war that tried to erase such things that mattered more than any medal, Vasily survived the war, returned to his village, never spoke about Stalingrad except once, to a journalist in 1973. When asked about his service, he said something that deserves to be remembered. "I killed men to save men. That's all war ever is. You don't stop being human just because humans are trying to kill you. The moment you forget that, you've lost something you can never get back." He died in 1989, 6 months before the Berlin Wall fell. They found his rifle in his home, broken down and wrapped in oilcloth, unloaded. He'd never fired it again after 1945. Next to it was a small tin box. Inside were 47 shell casings, each one marked with a date, each one a death he carried until his own. The forgotten sniper of Stalingrad wasn't forgotten because his kills didn't matter. He was forgotten because what he chose not to kill mattered more. In a war of millions, one man proved that keeping your humanity costs everything and means everything. If this story moved you, share it. These aren't just old war stories. They're reminders that even in humanity's darkest hours, we can still choose who we want to be. Hit subscribe for more untold stories that history tried to bury. And remember, courage isn't just about pulling the trigger. Sometimes it's about knowing when not to.